Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. This is the Daily Tarot for Monday, the 23rd of November 2020. Hope you're well. This will be a major arcana reading. Okay. Right. Tower in the reverse. Could be worse than in the reverse. Okay. Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. Now it remains to be seen whether its orientation is relevant or not, whether it's meaningful or not, because how can you tell whether a wheel is the right way up or not? There's no right way up, there's no wrong way up. Okay. Hanged Man in the reverse. Right, let's keep going. I guess I'm going to get to about 5 and see if they're all in the reverse. Then I'll just turn them all over. Fool in the reverse. Now I've had a mighty shuffle. Soul and the Moon in the reverse. Okay, so the reversals are meaningless. So let's turn them all up. Because no, if they're all in the reverse, then reversals are irrelevant. Okay, so the Tower, the not the inevitable loss of what one has built, but the loss nonetheless. I mean, this striking of lightning here is not inevitable, but what is inevitable is the shock and awe when it hits. What this card is about is what happens to us when we've worked our way to a point of security, stability, and power, and possibly a certain degree of self-satisfaction, maybe even arrogance in our position. And then suddenly something comes along and just smacks the whole lot to pieces. What happens to us then? What do we do? What do we do? And what does it mean to us when that loss of status occurs? Okay, so there's the Tower. Wheel of Fortune I'm going to come back to. Always a bit of a wild card, that one. The Hanged Man. Waiting for and waiting on purpose, not waiting because one is made to wait. Choosing to wait, choosing to step out of the karmic flow, get out of the karmic machine of whatever it is. Just like stop the engine, roll to a halt, get out of the car and go and sit on the bank. And rather than watching the scenery flashing by as we drive to our karmic destination, we stop and we get out and we actually look around. And it's amazing what we see when we stop and look around. If you've got a drive that you do every day, maybe to and from work or something like this, when you stop, it's stuff happens and you notice new stuff when you actually stop, instead of it all just like going past you like that. That's what this card is about. So we've got 2 different types of kind of arrested movement, or 2 different types of, well, change. Tarot being the oracle of change. Okay, then we have the Fool. So the start of something new, something fresh, with no expectation, zero agenda, simply being. There's quite a lot of meditative energy in the Fool, as there is in the Hanged Man. And then the Moon, borrowed light, second-hand knowledge, shadiness, stuff coming and going in and out of vision as the clouds pass over the moon here, and doubt, and sort of looking at something and not being quite sure what it is you're looking at, and wondering. I mean, we're here at card number 18, so we're very, very close to the end of the tarot cycle, very close to the world, only a few cards away. We've come a long way. And at this point with the moon is the point where we ask ourselves, we have that cold hand up the back and that little voice saying, is this right? Have I done it right? Is this really what I want? It's like that little voice inside asking those big questions. Before we move then onto the Sun card, the commitment, judgment, the last check over everything, and then the world. It's that little voice. Just like if you're getting married and you're standing at the church door and this little voice goes, do I really want this? Okay, that's part of what the moon is about. So let's have a look at this as a whole picture. Right, so there's a movement with the Fool and the moon into a sort of like walking into a bank of fog, walking into a sort of slightly gloomy twilight kind of place. Not sure where we're going here, and perhaps kind of like skipping along into it with a bit of naivety, having spent some time just kind of, as I say, out of the flow. But with the Hanged Man, I never really think there's a whole heap of thought going on here. It's just kind of turning yourself upside down, or stopping rather than moving, and just looking. Not for anything, just looking, just experiencing things in a different way from usual. And frankly, I'm not surprised that we would do that, because we've come in with this shocker. Now, I do need to address here the Wheel of Fortune. Right, okay. Do you know the phrase I'm getting for this? It could have happened to anyone. It could have happened to anyone. That's what I'm getting. But I think that's a bit of an excuse on our part. And the reason I think that's a bit of an excuse is because we then spend a bit of time in a kind of stunned state with the Hanged Man here, just like a bit of a state of shock. And then we move off into, I mean, we're always moving into the unknown, but we're moving into this kind of twilight zone here with the Fool into the moon. So I think that Wheel of Fortune there is a kind of a thing that we might tell ourselves in order to kind of get ourselves moving again, but I think it's a bit of a poor excuse. I need to get more. It's understandable. It's understandable, but it's not always the case that it could have happened to anyone. Because look, Not anyone builds a tower like that. Not everyone builds a tower like that. It takes a certain type of person and a certain quality of motivation and kind of karmic will to build a structure like that. And the magnitude of the loss of status in this is not something that could have happened to anyone. The lightning can strike anywhere. But the fact that it strikes that tower has to be there, has to have been put there in order for the lightning to strike it where the lightning happens to strike. It's not just anyone it could have happened to. It's not just fate. It's not. Basically, the more you have, the more there is to lose. Right, now, one's just jumped out. It's face down. I'm just going to work out what I want to see in this next card before I turn it up. And whether it's in reverse or in the upright is not going to make any difference at all. I'm just going to read the card because it fell out. Right, I'm going to look at this movement of the Fool into this moon energy. I'm going to see if I can see beyond the moon. Okay. The Lovers. Right. Okay. Right. We need to be real about the fate of this. Okay, we need to be real about it. We need to take responsibility for our choices. Someone chose to do that. No one chose for the lightning to strike. That's an act of God. But when God acts, when luck happens, and I'm not saying that God and luck are synonymous, but when God acts in this way, what it acts upon is our responsibility. And that's what I'm getting here from the Lovers card. Now, in the Lovers card, there's a choice being made. This used to be called the Choice. Card number 6, pretty early on in the tarot cycle. And it's when the soul becomes aware that there's a crossroads. This young man is at a crossroads. All right? He is in a position where he is choosing between becoming a husband or staying a son. There's a step to be made. And once he's made that step, there is no going back. He can't just annul the wedding and go back and be his mother's son again and pretend that none of it. You have to be pretending the moon. There's a call here to actually step up, man up, woman up, grow a spine, grow a pair, and take responsibility for what we have done, rather than just sort of go, oh well, this, as I said, it could have happened to anyone. No. That tower didn't grow there. It was built, and the fact that it was built is the reason why all that destruction is happening, as in conjunction with this act of God. It's not just anyone. And the Lovers here is telling us that our choices are our responsibility, and that pretending they're not is to step off like a fool into the twilight zone. Right, bit of a severe reading there, I'm afraid, but That's the energy of the day. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again for another reading. Namaste.